Welcome to the Logic Beginner's Guide by Intro to Master Creative Training. Now, whether you're just starting your journey in music production or looking to understand the basics, this video will walk you through the essential tools and functions to get you started in making music with Logic Pro. Let's dive in. When you open Logic, you'll be prompted to either open a previous project or start a new one. For now, we're going to select new project. As you can see, there's the recent projects that I've created in the past, but for now we're going to choose new project. Then you're going to want to choose empty project from the options. This gives you a blank canvas to work with. Go ahead and click choose. There we go. Now after that, you'll see a window giving you options to name your file so that you can start saving your project from the start. So I'm just going to call this LB1, so that's Logic Basics 1, and I think I'll save it on my music production hard drive. There we go. I think I'll save it as a folder as well. I'll explain folders and packages and things like that in a future video. Go ahead and click save. And there we are. Then you will see options for the type of track you'd like to create. You can choose software instruments just up here, or with external MIDI. You got another kind of software instrument. This is for different types of patterns. So this is just for straightforward MIDI here, and this is for different types of patterns. Then you've got the session player, so you can have like session drums, session bass guitar, session keyboard player, or you've got audio. So this is if you was, I guess, recording some vocals, or if you connected an external guitar or bass, so you could choose that one if that's what you were starting your project off straight away. You can choose any one of these. Again, for now, we're just going to choose software instruments. So just keep it selected on that and go ahead and click create. There we go. So if I just quickly hide these windows, this area here, this is the main central area where your tracks will be. So it's where you'll see your audio and MIDI tracks displayed as sort of horizontal bars. Now on the left, just here, you've got what's called the inspector, where you can adjust each track settings. The bottom holds the editor, and on the top you've got sort of different functions, but I'll explain those in future videos as well. Now, if you click on this button here, it shows you where you can get all the sound from. Now, Logic comes pre-packed with loads and loads of sounds. So when you click on that there, it opens a library of pre-installed sounds. Now, let's add an instrument, in fact. So I'm just going to click on piano. Go to legacy pianos, and I think Steinway. And there we go. As you can see, just up here, it's added it to our track. Let's try adding a piano. Once you've selected your instrument, you can play it using your MIDI keyboard or by opening the musical typing keyboard by pressing Command K. So if you press Command K on your computer keys, you get this keyboard down here. It's really, really useful if you don't actually have a MIDI keyboard. I have a MIDI keyboard, so I'm just going to get rid of that by pressing Command K again. And now the way that you actually start recording, you can either simply press the letter R, it's called a quick key. And most of these letters and things that I'm asking you to click, they're called quick keys. So you could click the letter R on your computer keyboard, or you could actually press the record button. When you're recording, you'll hear a click, and that's called the metronome. And you're going to want to try and keep your playing in time to that click. Let's give it a go. and then just click stop. There we are. And so if I grab this here and scroll it back, or you can press stop twice or rewind, that brings it back to the beginning. Let's just have a listen to how that sounds. I think I pressed the first note a little bit late, so that's why you don't hear it straight away. Let's try again. Yeah, it's a little bit late, but the good thing about Logic Pro is once you've recorded your notes, if you double click on this region here or press P, it shows you what's called the piano roll. Now, in the piano roll, you can adjust things like the length of keys. So I could bring that down to there, for example. I can move notes around like that, you know, if I'm out of key. And then also if I go to this one, can you see how it's just spilling over the line a bit? And that's why it's not playing, because the note starts before the actual track starts, so that's why you can't hear it. But so I can just drag it inwards like that. Just zoom in and make sure I get it a little bit precise. There we go. So if I press play now, you'll hear that first note play. Let's just zoom out a little bit there so you can see what's going on. There we go. And the reason why I said earlier to play it on time, because as you can see, each note starts at a specific place. And then when it comes to you, I don't know, creating drums or something like that, everything will be on time. You can also adjust. Can you see that they're sort of different colors? And that's because of how I was pressing the keys. The harder I press a key, the louder the piano sound is going to be. And the softer I press it, the quieter it's going to be. And you can change that. You can change the velocity here of any particular note. And you'll know that you're changing the velocity, of course, because you're scrolling it. And you'll see the amount there, but also you'll see a color change in the note that you're changing, so that you're affecting, you're turning the volume up. So red is really, really loud, and then right to the very bottom, purple is very, very quiet. So I'm just going to turn that back up to about, I don't know, green, sort of match the rest. Let's turn that one down a little bit as well. Let's make them all pretty much similar. You can make them precise, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to use the colors. It's a very good indicator to get them approximate. You're not always going to want them at the exact same velocity anyway, unless of course you're sort of making electronic music. If you want your music to sound more live and realistic, you probably want a variation in your velocity. So that's the piano roll. Again, there's a lot more that you can do with all of these functions at the top here. You can change the sort of rhythm of your piece and things like that, but I'll explain these in future shows. So let's come out of the piano roll by pressing P, so that takes you out, and so that's how you can get into the piano roll as well. If you press P, it takes you straight in there. So let's create a new track. I mentioned drums earlier, so let's create some drums. So if I click on this plus here, this will, as it says there, add a track. And look, it's brought up the window that we had at the beginning of the session. Now I tend to create my own drum beats, but if you're not used to creating drum beats, and you know you're on this session for a reason, because you're new to Logic, a good way to get a good drum rhythm on Logic is simply clicking this here, drummer. So if I click that, watch what happens, and create, of course. There we go. So look, we've got a drum pattern already. Now, I can see that it wants to start there. That must be something to do with where I had my cursor. So I'm just going to click on that and drag it to the beginning. And now if I press play, let's bring my cursor to the start, we'll have a nice drum pattern. There we go. It's a hit. I've made a song already. But, you know, I might want to edit these drums. So you've got different effects here. You know, you can change the intensity. So let's just bring that down and see what we get. I'm going to leave that playing so you can hear the difference. Come on, why going to it there? There we go. So that's the intensity. And again, if I bring the cursor back to the beginning, I can change the complexity. So let's give that a go and see what that sounds like. Something like that would be good for a drum roll, I guess. So let's bring that back down. And there we are. So have a play around with the complexity and the intensity, and just see what you get and see what you like. So I'm just going to set mine back to the central there and just keep everything sort of medium. Okay, so let's get rid of the session player by double clicking on here. There we are. Now the next thing I'm going to do, just to make things sound a little bit more, I don't know, professional, I guess, for choice of better words, is I'm going to use the inspector. Let's get rid of the library. I'm going to use the inspector area here. I'm focusing on this here. In fact, I'm going to click on audio effects because that's what I want to do next. Audio effects make a massive difference when you're trying to make, I don't know, professional music, pop music, for example. So I'm going to click on audio effects, and here's all of my effects here. To keep it simple, I'm going to go for simple reverb. Now I always use Space Designer. Oops, come off there. So I always use Space Designer. It's very straightforward. There we go. So I've just applied this, what's called a plugin, this Space Designer reverb plugin. There it is, to my drum kit just here. So if I press play now, if I just bring that back with any join, you should hear arguably some excessive reverb on the drum. Let's give it a go. There we are. So yes, like I said, some excessive reverb, a little bit too loud. It sounds like there's one person playing some drums in a, I don't know, in the O2 arena, all on his own without a crowd and no other bands or anything like that. The excessive reverb. We don't want too much reverb. So this here, whenever you see this wet dial here on any of your plugins, it's how much of that sound effect is applied. So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit here. The dry is the original sound, so I'm just going to keep that as it is. Let's just move that out of the way and let's have a listen to it now. I think I may have brought it down a little bit too much. Let's bring that back up a bit. There we go. That sounds better, doesn't it? Much better. Let's listen to it with the pianos again. Perfect. So you now know how to record a melody, and like I say, if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you can press Command K to bring up your typing keyboard, and you'll use the keys of your keyboard on your computer. Too many keyboards on your computer to play the melodies. It is, in my opinion, much more easier if you do have a MIDI keyboard. I don't know if you can see the one on, or if you saw the one on the thumbnail to this video. They're easy to carry around. Any MIDI keyboard will do, and I'll send you the link where you can get that small MIDI keyboard from on the description below as well. And then drums, yes, I tend to play them in. I play my snares individual, my kick drums individually, and things like that. But you know, if you just want to quickly throw something together, a nice little melody with some drums, you can use Drummer. It's perfect. Okay, so finally, let's say this is our hit, this is our song. Just to get to the end, so we know how to open up Logic, we know to add instruments, and now we're going to what's called export. So we're going to export the music to make one tangible piece of music. If you click on File and then Bounce, Project or Selection, and as you can see, you've got the quick keys there if you wanted to do it the quick way without using your mouse. If you click on that, it will ask you a few questions. Now, do you want to export it as a PCM wave? or an MP3. You could burn it straight to CD or DVD if you've got a drive. There's different options there. So this is the destination of where you want to bounce it to. This is where it's going to start, and this is where it's going to end. So at number 9 there, which is where the drum ends. Normalize, again, I'll explain more of these features in future videos. And if you did it online, or real time as it's called, you would hear the music playing along while it's exporting. And if you do it offline, it just simply does it very, very quickly. So we're going to do it offline. PCM Wave is probably best because it's a higher quality bit of audio than an MP3. So if we click go ahead, make sure it's set however you need to set it, but for a beginner this is perfect. Go ahead and click OK. And now it's asking where you want to bounce it. I'm just going to go ahead and bounce mine straight on my desktop. It's got the name of the file there, LB1, which is what I called it earlier. But if you've created a song and you want to give it a title, perhaps you could put it there, or you could call the project itself the title if you know what that is before you start, and then click bounce. And there we are, all done. You've just completed your first track in Logic Pro. So we know how to open Logic Pro. We know how to choose what function we want to use in the first instance, whether it's going to be a MIDI instrument or a pattern instrument, I don't know, one of the session players or audio. And we know how to add some melody in time. We also know by pressing P how to edit our melody, and again, if you press P with the drums, you can see all of the drums that I've played there. You can edit it that way. Or if you double click on it, it actually brings you the drum settings, so you can change the intensity and things like that. So there we are. Well done. Congratulations, you've just covered the basics of Logic Pro. Remember, these are just the essentials. Logic Pro is a powerful tool with so much more to explore. Be sure to click on our subscribe button and check out our upcoming videos for more tips on using Logic Pro and developing your music production skills. Also, check out our book, links in the description below, and visit us online at rayrayprod.com/intro to master. Thanks for watching this Intro to Master creative training. I'll see you next time. Happy producing.